High School, the site of the Section 6 4A baseball playoffs, and the weather at the moment at least is holding off and allowing us to get these games in. Here it is, the top seed, and it is not necessarily the one you would think by the records on your screen right now. Hopkins at 10-10 is the #1 seed in Section 6 4A, and they will take on the #4 seed Minneapolis Southwest, winners of an opening round game yesterday over St. Louis Park. I'm Charlie Beatty, and I am joined by Drew Keogh, who's putting on his jacket because he may have just felt a raindrop as we take a look at the bracket here in this Section 6 4A. Mentioned the Southwest win over St. Louis Park yesterday, 4-2. Earlier today, just now on this field actually, Armstrong held off Washburn 3-1. So today's games, meaning Armstrong has to play again later, another game you'll see here on CCX. But today, for now, it is Hopkins and Minneapolis Southwest, the 1 versus 4. The winner gets a break until Monday. The loser in this game, of course, in this double elimination tournament, would have to play tomorrow. So a big incentive in a lot of ways to win this opening game, or at least this second round game, if you're Minneapolis Southwest. There you see the Royals of Hopkins. They will take the field first as the home team. Let's take a look at the batting order for the visiting Lakers of Southwest. Very good batting order in terms of top to bottom quality. Christian Masters, the third baseman, will lead it off. Levi Wilson at second base, batting second. Mike Wallace, the shortstop, bats third. Catcher is Jacob Kuneski, and he bats fourth. Zach Blumenfeld, the pitcher, batting fifth. Nate Rivers in right field, who pitched yesterday and pitched well, bats sixth. Will Villalta, the DH for the first baseman. Will Stevens, he bats seventh. Sebastian Gohl in left field, batting eighth. And the center fielder was Will Olson, and he bats ninth. And here is the defense for the Royals of Hopkins. Sophomore Joey Hurth on the mound. Future St. Thomas Tommy Kyle Chiraboga, his battery mate. Jake Perry, a freshman at first. More on that in a moment. Kyle Fiducia, the second baseman, playing second base. Luis Felomovicius, the shortstop. Bobby Wilson at third base. Hunter Beaudry in left. Luke Polyak in center. And Wyatt Nelson in right. And Jake Perry is in there for the dangerous Tommy Auth, who is normally the first baseman for this Hopkins team, but he broke a hand in the final regular season game against Minnetonka and is out. That is a huge loss for the Royals as they head into section play as the top seed in this field. So what you have here, a 17-3 Minneapolis Southwest team. They were the 4 seed. Obviously, they play in the Minneapolis City Conference, a lot of smaller schools. Didn't get a ton of respect on that schedule, but Drew, what that's done is they've got an angry #4 seed coming in here against kind of a wounded #1 seed.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great record for this Southwest team, and you know, they've played a few teams from outside the metro area, including Brainerd, Owatonna, Elk River, Metro team, and ECU. They've got a couple wins there, beat all 4 of those teams. Coming into this matchup against Hopkins, the #1 seed, obviously Hopkins playing a much tougher schedule with the Wyzettas, Armstrongs, Edinas, teams like that, Minnetonka on their schedule. But you can only play your schedule when you come into the season, and coming into this section game against Hopkins with 17 wins for Southwest is a really big accomplishment. And during the section meetings, I mean, it was a really interesting discussion, and the Southwest coach really felt he had an argument to be the top seed. Unfortunately, he ended up being the 4 seed, and Hopkins ended up being the 1 seed. But here we'll get to see how things play out.
And what made it even more interesting and maybe difficult to see this Southwest team, they didn't play anybody else in the section, so they don't have any direct head-to-head comparisons. But they'll get some now, as they will get to take on this Hopkins team first. And obviously the next matchup would be against either Armstrong or Wyzetta. Should they win, should they lose? So very interesting scenario here as we start this game. We do have a few very minor raindrops falling. First of 2 here on CCX today. And there you see Joey Hurth, the pitcher we saw right here on CCX against Wyzetta last Wednesday, and he pitched very well.
Yeah, he started off a little shaky early in the game, but once he got his composure and gained control of his breaking ball, he really started to feel comfortable out there and started cruising against Wyzetta in what ended up being a really good game between those 2 teams last week. And, you know, a good opportunity for Hopkins to show their youth as well, with Perry over there at first base. As a freshman coming in to replace a key hitter that has been a strong catalyst for the Hopkins Royals this spring, and knocking in runs throughout the season. But you know, you got a sophomore on the mound and a freshman over at first base and a key part of the batting order. So good sign for Hopkins to have a couple youngsters out there surrounded by a few veterans scattered around the outfield and infield.
Perth a no decision in that game against Wayzata last week. Obviously, the Trojans won it in extra innings. But this year, he did lead the team in innings pitched, 25 2/3, even though he made only 3 starts. 7 total appearances on the mound, 3-1. Had the team's only save, ERA of even 3. And he struck out 25 while walking 14, gave up 11 earned runs, 13 total. 28 hits allowed in the 25 2/3 innings pitched, but he's able to get around them for the most part. We saw quite a bit of that last Wednesday.
Yeah, we saw him pitch himself into a few jams early on in the game, and he was able to work himself out of it in a pretty low-scoring game that Wise ended up winning in extra innings. But it was fun to watch him struggle early and figure things out, because that's what you want to see pitchers do. Is if they're struggling early, you hate to see them get pulled and kind of lose control and get pulled of the game early. You like to see them figure things out and kind of work themselves deep into the game.
First pitch of the game to Christian Masters is down and in. 1 ball and no strikes. Masters spearheading this lineup, which is full of 300 hitters for Southwest. He comes in at 378. Chops at the 1-0 and bounces it toward the Southwest dugout. It's 1-1.
Yeah, and a 17-3 record, and a lot of those wins were 10-run rules or double-digit run games, and that's what you like to do. You like to, when you have a chance and you're hitting the ball well, you want to keep hitting and hitting and hitting and put out as many runs as you can on the board, so you start to feel comfortable and confident in your batting order.
And there's another base hit for him, his 4th of the section tournament. Had 3 yesterday against St. Louis Park. Slices a single into right. And that'll bring up Levi Wilson with a man on and nobody out.
A great piece of hitting there. Went with the pitch. It's kind of outside in the zone. Fought it off and put it out in the right field. Not the hardest hit ball we'll see this afternoon, I'm pretty sure. But you know what? He did his job. He got on base with a solid single to lead the game off here.
Wilson, one of many Southwest players who is going to play college baseball next year. This is a very senior-laden team. He will play at Wisconsin Stout. Takes a strike. He, too, hitting well over 300, comes in at 362. Oh, 1 pitch on the way from Hurth, a breaking ball, and we saw that good bender a lot last week, and that one is a called strike. Quickly 0-2. There is Jared Mountain. 22 years the head man of this Southwest Laker team.
Getting a quick time on the delivery to home so he can kind of get a good scouting report for the pitcher's delivery to let his runners know what they have to work with.
Wilson fouls that one off to stay alive. Left-handed hitter wearing the number 5, playing second base today. His middle infield partner, Mike Wallace, waiting on deck. The 0-2. Here's a ground ball to second. They will go the short way for 1 and on to first, and not in time. So they get 1. Nice turn there by Fiducia. Had to move to his left a little bit.
Yeah, nice, easy ground ball with this turf field. You kind of predict and have a good anticipation where that ball is going to be. Turned it over to second base. Good solid throw to first, but just not in time.
Closer play than I expected. Coming off the bat at first base, Felovicius with a very good quick throw.
Yeah, and I think we're going to see the ball will continue to move quick. I mean, it's turf. It's not like other fields we've seen this spring, whether it's Champlin or Wayzata, where the grass has been cut pretty thick. This is short and it's quick.
Up high to Wallace. 1 ball and no strikes. And it's all turf. Even the dirt in the infield is technically turf, so there's really not a bad hop to be had out there. And this is also a great field for a rainy day. 1-0 pitch, down and in, 2-0.
Yeah, that was definitely one of the factors in hosting the section, all the games of the section tournament here. Some of the other sections have high seed hosting for the first couple of rounds, and they move it to a nicer field. But, with this turf, there's little maintenance. When weather comes in, it's easy to keep up and, rotate these teams through.
There's a strike, 2-1. Jason Michalakis, the Hopkins head coach, I asked him about the field and the weather, and he said it's going to have to be a monsoon for this field to hold any water, so it's going to drain well. With the weather iffy for the next couple of days and games scheduled here, that's a huge advantage in terms of being able to get games in. These teams, all of them around the state of Minnesota, pretty sick of seeing games canceled this spring. Wallace at 348 on the year. Runner going, and this one's popped into right. Playable for Wyatt Nelson, who now has to back up and makes the catch. And he will throw into first, and getting back in time is Levi Wilson.
Nice solidly hit ball out to right field. Good adjustment by the right fielder. He took a couple steps in early, but then made a quick adjustment to get under that ball and field it to get the second out here. Good strong throw back to first base, but he didn't have a chance to get the runner.
We've got two very good hitting catchers in this game. Here's one of them, Jacob Kuneski. 15 runs batted in this year. First pitch is up high, 1 ball and no strikes. Kuneski just a junior. Again, most of this Southwest lineup today, senior players. Runner going again. Here's the throw by Chiriboga in time, and they got him. Throw beat him there. It was just a matter of if the tag was there before the leg got in. Here's another look at it.
Not a bad break there by the runner at first base. Perfect throw down to second base. Second baseman barely even has to move the glove, puts the tag right down on the foot to get the third out and get Hopkins up to the plate.
So Hurth faces the minimum in the top half of the first. Southwest goes scoreless despite a base runner on the leadoff single. And now let's meet the Hopkins Royals in terms of their batting order. Luke Polyak will play center field and lead it off. The aforementioned Chiriboga batting second behind the plate. Bobby Wilson at third, batting third. Luis Felimovicius, the shortstop, hitting cleanup. The freshman, and Drew mentioned Jake Perry hitting in that RBI spot. Fifth, Hunter Beaudry in left. He bats sixth. Rafael Lewis is the DH. He is batting for the pitcher, Hurth. And Kyle Fiducia at second. Wyatt Nelson back in the lineup after some injury issues this year, and he bats ninth playing right field. And as they lose Tommy off, Jason Michalakis said that Wyatt Nelson was a nice guy to have back in the lineup. Here's the defense for Minneapolis Southwest. The pitcher, Zach Blumenfeld, and his battery mate, Jacob Kuneski. Will Stevens at first, Levi Wilson at second, Mike Wallace at short, Christian Masters at third. The outfield from left to right, Sebastian Goal. Very speedy Will Olson in center field, and Nate Rivers is in right. There you get a look at the right-hander, Zach Blumenfeld. Blumenfeld, another senior, 6'2", 180 pounds, 3-1 on the year. ERA of 2.60. So we have two strong pitchers on the mound today.
Like the high socks. Got a little style with the stripes there, old-fashioned. Reminds me of the old Pittsburgh Pirates back in the 70s. They used to wear those high socks with the stripes.
A lot of players going back to that look now.
I was trying to get my 7-year-old to do it. He didn't understand what that meant. And I was trying to show him some players. And he said, that's not what baseball players are doing now. And I said, well, it's going to come back.
It's on its way. There's 3 or 4 out on the field right now. 4 or 5, actually. Southwest Lakers trying to help you out.
Teaching the young kids.
Drew will be leaving here with a lot of photos of players' socks.
Batting for the Royals.
Well, Polyak will lead it off.
Center fielder Luke.
Luke on the year hitting .227, but getting on base at a .358 clip. Drawn 8 walks on the year, 10 base hits. And he takes ball 1 from Blumenfeld.
Yeah, it's not always about the batting average. It's about that on-base percentage, especially at the top of the order. For whatever team you play for, if you're batting 1 or 2, your job is to either get on base or get that runner moving around the bases so you can get your key hitters 3, 4, 5 an opportunity to knock in runs.
2-0 pitch now. Chopper to the right side. Playable over there for Stevens. Flip to the pitcher, and Polyak runs well, and he made that close.
Nice job by the pitcher to quickly get off the mound. Noticed that ball was going to be hit to the first baseman. He scooted over to first base, ran over the line, started cruising up towards first base, got his footwork down, and got that out.
Here's Kyle Chiriboga hitting a team-high .389. 5 doubles, 1 triple, 10 batted in this year. He too takes ball 1. Mentioned he's a future St. Thomas Tommy, as is his twin brother. Here's a bouncer to third. Straight ahead play for Christian Masters and a low throw, but a nice pick by Stevens. Quickly, 2 out in the inning for Blumenfeld.
Yeah, a couple things here that we see on this turf field. That ball was when close to the lip where the dirt probably isn't going to be raked cleanly, but with the turf, it's an easy hop and then a nice easy scoop for the first baseman. And another thing that's really underrated for first baseman is when the ball is in the dirt, you're anticipating where it's going to be, but if it hits a bad spot, it's going to go a different direction. But with this turf, you have a really good expectation of where it's going to be.
First pitch swinging for Wilson. And into right field and near the line, making the catch is Nate Rivers, and that's about as quick as it can get for Minneapolis Southwest and Zach Blumenfeld. We will step aside. Very quick first inning. No score. We head to the second between Minneapolis Southwest and Hopkins on CCX Sports.
Most of my family, they never graduated high school or even let alone go to college, so I'm trying to break that barrier. Every day after work, went straight to school, studied hard, and it paid off. I could not have done it alone. I see the future is really bright for me. The high school diploma is just added to the confidence, and now I feel unstoppable.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Quick first inning here in this second round game in the Section 6-4A playoffs. Players playing like they're trying to beat the rain a little bit.
Yeah, hopefully that's not what we have to do, but I think there's a good chance we'll see a little rain. As long as there's no lightning, I think they're going to keep him playing.
So Kudeski, who was at the plate when Levi Wilson was thrown out trying to steal in the top half of the first, leads off the second. And the first pitch from Hurth is the breaking ball, and it misses just outside.
It's a good miss. It's a sharp curve in that breaking ball. Kept the batter off balance. Just missed the plate, though.
1-0 delivery, and that one a little wider. So it falls behind 2-0. Only hit in the game was a leadoff single in the top half of the first for Christian Masters. And on the inside corner, 2-1. Very detailed stats on this Hopkins team. There's a bouncer to the right side. More on that in a second. The play over to first by Fiducia to Perry. One gone. We even know that Joey Hurth averages about 17 pitches per inning, which is a pretty good number.
Yeah, that's a pretty good amount of pitches. I mean, you think that that first inning for both pitchers, they were probably, what, in the 7-8 pitch range, 9 pitches, and averaging 17 means you have a few innings where you're laboring. You're throwing 25, 30 pitches.
Anything to keep you under that pitch count limit as he delivers a strike to his opposite number, Blumenfeld, who bats from the left side. Right-handed pitcher. And one line foul down the left field line.
Yeah, looking at your stat sheet there, that's pretty impressive. I think you're seeing this baseball team trying to keep up with the basketball team. They got all these D1 prospects that they got to report stats on. They have the access to this great stat database. Why not throw all the numbers in there and spit out some fun formulas and see what you come up with?
Up and in, 1-2. Well, the big thank you on the stats actually has to go to pitcher on the mound's father. Joey's father actually keeps track of everything for Hopkins, and he gave these stats to us. This one to the left side. That is caught on the bounce by Wilson. Makes the play over to first.
Nice scoop play by the third baseman. Good solid throw over to first to get the out. See the green pebbles kind of scoop up. That means the ball hit the ground. He fielded it cleanly. Good strong throw over to first to get that out.
So here's Nate Rivers. 2 gone here in the top half of the second. Rivers yesterday went 7 innings against St. Louis Park, struck out 8. Swings at the high fastball here. No balls and 1 strike. Playing right field today. Oh, 1 pitch right down the middle, 0-2. And we were talking about this off the air, but the fact that if if you win today, you get to play on Monday. You can bring back one of your top pitchers right away. Fouled away. If you have to play tomorrow, obviously with the pitch count limits that went into effect last year, you have to go to maybe the number 2 or even number 3 guy if it gets any worse.
Yeah, that's a huge advantage in section playoffs. It usually comes down to teams with 2 really good pitchers and sometimes a good reliever that usually go deep into the sections.
Another quick inning this time for Joey Hurt, the 1-2-3, and he gets the game's first strikeout. Still scoreless here through an inning and a half. Hopkins and Minneapolis Southwest in the Section 6 4A playoffs on CCX Sports.
They said a bottle was just a bottle. That no one would ever notice me. But I knew I could be more. That one day, I would make people smile.
The color in my garden keeps the pink in my cheeks. I was very independent and thought I could take care of myself. I fell and I had to have Meals on Wheels. They're my savior. My name is Lola Silvestri. America, let's do lunch.
Drop off a hot meal and say hello. Volunteer by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
Good crowd on hand here on this Wednesday afternoon. Obviously hoping it stays dry. Second of 3 games on this field today. Mentioned that Armstrong and Washburn already played here in a game that was supposed to be yesterday. First pitch swinging, and that one is off the glove of the diving Christian Masters at third base. And it will be an infield single for Luis Felimovicius. First hit for Hopkins.
Yeah, perfectly placed ball on the left side of the infield. Nice dive by the third baseman to get a glove on it. I think the shortstop was lining up to try and make a spectacular play, but I think if he comes up clean with that ball, I don't think there's a play for either the third baseman or the shortstop to get Felimovicius over at first.
So here is Jake Perry, freshman who only had 15 at-bats on the season, but he was 5 for 15, drove in 3 runs. First pitch up and in. Blumenfeld, who cruised through the first inning, he threw only 6 pitches. Gives up the leadoff infield single here in the second, and Perry slices one foul. After this, it's Wyzetta against Armstrong. Falcons have to turn right around and do it again.
Sometimes that's good for those lower seeds to get right back out there and stay hot.
And there's a strike on the outside corner. And in this section especially, Hopkins and Wyzetta, the top 2 seeds, they're not infallible.
No, both around 500 all season. Hopkins struggling down the stretch. They had a good start to the season, but they lost 6 of the last 7, and they're the number 1 seed. But you'll get other sections, as we were talking about. I think it's section 2. You got 3 or 4 teams that are probably the top 3 seeds in this section. But that's how the sections line up, and you got to play ball.
2-2 pitch on the way to Perry. Stayed back on an off-speed offering. Fouled it over the southwest dugout up the third base line. It's .333 average, good for a tie for third on the team. Mentioned he didn't have that many plate appearances. Fouls one back over our heads, staying alive here against the senior Blumenfeld.
Yeah, nice piece of hitting there. You're not trying to hit the ball the hardest you possibly can with 2 strikes. What you want to do is you want to make contact. You want to put the ball in play. You want to do whatever you can to get that, keep that at bat alive or get the runner on to second. And there he ends up with a base hit.
And serves one into right field. Nice at bat for Perry. And it's first and second.
Puts the bat out there, right on the end of the bat. Good solid stroke to the right side of the infield through the gap of first and second. Moves the runner on the second, so now Hopkins has a good chance to put a runner or 2 across the plate here, and I think we'll see the third baseman and first baseman playing in on the green turf, not on the grass, but anticipate a bunt here, and it'd be a tough spot for the third baseman to figure out what they want to do with the runner on second here.
Hunter Beaudry is the batter. Hunter, the left fielder today. And he does square around a bunt, nearly hits him, but he ends up with almost a perfect bunt up the third base line, and Blumenfeld will throw him out with the second baseman covering. Bunted that off his belly button.
Yeah, he got the job done. It wasn't the prettiest bunt, but he laid it down, put it right down the third baseline. I think if he stays on his feet out of the batter's box, he might beat that out. But he was, his goal was to put the ball down in front of the plate and force Southwest to make an out over at first and get his runners down to second and third.
The bunt was ugly. The result was perfect.
Yep.
If you're going to place a bunt, that's where you'd want to do it. He almost did it by accident as Rafael Lewis swings through a high one. Lewis, the DH today. Saw him play second base last week. Listed as an infielder and a pitcher. Another left-handed hitter, and he takes one up and away. First big jam of the game in these section games. These situations really decide what happens, who moves on and who has to go into the elimination bracket. 1-1 pitch, good fastball. Seen so many of these spots over the years, and somehow the team in the field manages to wriggle their way out of it. Sometimes some impossible situations.
Yeah, this will be key if they can get a strikeout here for Southwest to get this second out of the inning.
1-2 pitch down the right field line and fair. And that'll score them both as it rolls all the way to the wall, and Lewis hustling for second, and he will hold up there with a two-run double. So Hopkins strikes the first blow, and once again a two-strike piece of hitting, same as Perry.
Great piece of hitting. Put that barrel down in the zone, got that low pitch, drove it down the right field line. Easy, cruised in easy for a double, and brought in the first 2 runs of the game for Hopkins.
Right out of the box. The way he was chugging around first, I was wondering if he was going to try for 3. So here's Kyle Fiducia as the Royals lead it 2-0, and he swings over a big hook from Blumenfeld. Zach Blumenfeld next year is on his way to the University of Denver. Plans to play club baseball there.
He will have fun out there.
Fiducia fouls one away. He's quickly behind 0-2.
Beautiful university right there in the south part of Denver, overlooking the mountains. It's one of the best university settings I've ever visited.
Good sports programs there too. Obviously, great hockey team.
Yeah, it's a pretty small school for being in a big city, but they got a great hockey program, a budding lacrosse program. But a lot of students go out there just to kind of get exposure to the outdoors, which Colorado and Denver is perfect for.
0-2 pitch up high, and coming out of the crouch is Kuneski. A lot of Minnesota kids go down there too. I know the fact that the lacrosse team has a kid from Eden Prairie. Their basketball team has a player from St. Croix Lutheran a couple of years ago.
A lot of skiers end up out there too, because they have a fantastic. Their ski program combined with University of Colorado and Boulder is 2 of the best ski programs in the nation, and I think they win the national title pretty much every other year.
1-2 pitch on the way, didn't miss by much. So the third time in this inning that Blumenfeld has had 2 strikes on a hitter. First 2 ended up with base hits.
Yeah, he threw good pitches, put him down in the zone, but both times the Hopkins hitters put the barrel of the bat down right where the ball was and were able to make good solid contact.
Time called by Fiducia. Kyle this year struggled at the plate, hit only 188, but that's just in 16 at-bats. And this one is back up the middle, a base hit. Lewis got a good jump, but he will be held at third as hustling it back in is Olson. So another 2-strike base hit in this inning, the 4th hit of the inning for the Royals.
Again, not the hardest hit ball, but solid contact right up the middle. Olson does a great job fielding that ball, easily gets it in. Doesn't give the runner a chance to try and steal second base, gets to the cutoff man. Now Hopkins has a good chance to get another run across the plate.
Wyatt Nelson, the right fielder. Mentioned coming back from injury here late in the year. He actually had a stress fracture in his back. Caused him to miss some time. Only played in 12 games of the 20. in the dirt, blocked by Kruneski. Lewis at third base, very active on the line, but we've seen him hustle ever since he got out there on these base paths.
Yeah, you're trying to distract the pitcher. You know, you got him on the ropes here, and you're trying to get into his mind and make him throw balls or get a wild pitch.
Up high, 2-0.
You know, if you're Southwest, you want to get the first out, but you're really one pitch away here from getting out of the inning. If you're able to get a good, solid ground ball up the middle, you can turn two and get out of this jam.
Hopkins bench is up and very vocal right now, trying to blow this one open early as Nelson takes a strike. Top of the order coming up after him. 4 base hits in this inning for the Royals. Runner goes, and the throw is down to second base, and he is out. And Lewis stays put at third. Jared Mountain really loves Kruneski's arm, says he has a real howitzer back there, and we just saw it. Both catchers now thrown out a runner.
Yeah, great throw, and I think two things there. He great throw down to second base, but he got up quick enough and threw it down hard enough that the runner from third base wasn't able to advance on the throw.
Pitch was a ball, so now it's 3-2 after that foul. Now you're really one pitch away from getting out of the inning, and that could be a really big out in this game moving forward. Here's the payoff. Up high, ball 4. So Jason Michalakis wanted to play it aggressive. Can't blame him for that. Doesn't work out. Obviously, Fiducia would be on second base anyway with the walk, but
yeah, I think you're trying to force things there, and he was waiting for a good count to run on, and I think he was anticipating a breaking ball. Didn't get it, but got a great throw by the second baseman, or by the catcher down to second base to get that out. But they had to make the play, so put the runner in motion, and unfortunately it didn't break their way.
Poliak fouls it away. No balls and 1 strike. He bounced out to the first baseman, Will Stevens, to lead off the bottom half of the first. Blumenfeld, as I mentioned, just 6 pitches in the first inning. 5 base runners here in the second. Only outs on a sacrifice and a caught stealing. So it's been a struggle here for the senior in this second inning. But as you said, 2 runs, you can live with that, especially the way things have played out.
Yeah, Hopkins was on the verge of breaking this one open here in the second inning, but Southwest has put themselves in a position to actually get out of this without too much damage.
And a check over at first base, and Nelson nearly stumbling, getting back to the bag.
Yeah, it looked like he was working on his breaststroke over there. He ended up sliding a little short and did a little belly hop.
Turf's good for a lot of things. Absolutely not that. 1-1 pitch to Poliak. Up high. Hopkins, center fielder, who has great speed, led the team this year with 11 stolen bases. Nobody else had more than 4. 2-1 pitch, hit hard into left center field. Looking like he has a play as Sebastian goal, and the inning is over. 2 runs for Hopkins maybe could have been worse, though, as Blumenfeld pitches his way out of some minor trouble and leaves 2 on the base pass. 2 runs on 4 hits. They leave 2. We head to the third. 2-0 Royals on CCX Sports.
I adopted Bento in 2010 from a shelter. As it turns out, we have very similar personalities. And this cat makes me make art because he's always motivating me to take pictures of him, to draw pictures of him. He just is motivating artistically. It's just that simple. Well, he's my best friend, but a lot of people know him as Keyboard Cat.
I see you mobbing over her. Let's go. Let's mob. Let's crawl. Let's crawl. Let's crawl. Hey, yo, we mobbing. Come on, girl. Let's crawl. Hey, yo, let's crawl. Hey, yo, let's crawl. Hey, let's crawl. Hey, yo, let's crawl.
An early lead for Hopkins with 2 in the bottom half of the second. And the Lakers will try to answer back. Will Villalta, Sebastian Goal, Will Olson, the bottom third of the order for Southwest against sophomore Joey Hurth.
Yeah, nice job by Southwest to get out of that jam. They gave up those 2 runs without getting. Gave up 2 runs with the 0 outs, but they were able to work themselves out of a jam and strain a couple of runners. And now what they want to do is just get a couple base runners and get a run back at a time.
Villalta swings at the first pitch. Chopper to Felimovicius. Time to throw and gets him at first. 1 pitch, 1 out for Hurth. Somewhat of a long inning in the bottom half of the second. So if you're the Lakers, if nothing else, you want to at least maybe get some base runners here. Give Blumenfeld a chance to kind of collect himself in the dugout.
Yeah, take a few pitches, work the count, foul ball here, foul ball there, extend this inning a little bit so you give your pitcher a little chance to rest and don't get out there on a 1-2-3 inning.
Strike 1 to Sebastian Goal, who has the lowest batting average on this Southwest starting 9, and it's 3-0-1. Fouls it away, 0-2.
It's the exact opposite of the Twins. I don't know if there's a starter with an average over probably 280.
A lot of good hitters on this Laker team, so they're not out of it. Reaches out, pokes one back to Hurth. Easy play for the pitcher.
Yeah, nice short couple hops to the pitcher. Good solid strong throw over to first base. Not the hardest hit ball, right off the end of the bat. Kind of was trying to fight it off, but put it right in front of the pitcher, and an easy play to get that second out.
So here is Will Olson. Comes in at 333. Way up on the grass, quote unquote grass at third base is Bobby Wilson. They respect the bunting and the speed of Will Olson. Here's a ground ball to second. Fiducia rounds it, flips to first, and an easy top half of the third. 3 groundouts on only 5 pitches for Joey Hurth. 1, 2, 3, they go. We head to the bottom of the third. Royals leading by 2 on CCX Sports.
I rescued Toast from a shelter in 2011. I love Toast because she's a lazy diva. Toast does whatever she wants, obviously. She's sleeping right now. She's an epic snuggler. She's so comforting. She's so loving. Toast makes me laugh. When I walked into the shelter, I knew right then that she was special.
Nothing Hopkins on the back of a big second inning. Now they come to bat here in the bottom half of the third. Kyle Chiriboga, Bobby Wilson, Luis Felimovicius, the 3 hitters. Charlie Beatty, Drew Keough with you here on CCX Sports. Second game of a triple header here from Hopkins this afternoon in Section 6-4A. Chopper down the third base line and foul right into the hands of Jason Mikalakis. Coaching down at third, the Hopkins head coach.
Yeah, good second inning for the Royals there. Put a couple runs on the board. They wish they would have had a few more, but a good start of the game for them to jump out to a 2-0 lead here early in the game.
Good pitch there by Blumenfeld on the outside corner, and he's up 0-2. Chiriboga bounced out to third in his first at bat. Quickly behind here, just missing on that curveball. And the 1-2 on the way from the righty. Blumenfeld is up high, 2-2. And this is what he got to in the second inning. That getting ahead, not an issue.
Yeah, he was
2 strikes.
So a couple of early hits. He was up. He had a 2-strike count, but a nice job of hitting by the Royals. Put the bat on the ball and put it in the outfield.
Slow roller foul from Chiriboga. Had a chance to chat with Jason Mikalakis before this game, and I'm sure this is a theme throughout the state, but the fact that the schedule was changed and so condensed by the early bad weather. There's the 2-2, and this one's lined down the left field line, but foul. He mentioned that the team, and I'm sure everybody, didn't really get to practice. Said they had about 20 more practices last season than this season. And because the games were so bunched up, you play so many days in a row, when you did get to practice, you didn't really do anything because everybody was just worn out.
And you're fighting for gym time, too. You got to deal with the track team, you got to deal with the softball team, the lacrosse team. Everybody's fighting for space on the inside when it's snowing outside in mid-April. So you're limited with options for scheduling a practice.
2-2, fouled away again. That issue, fighting for gym time, maybe not as big a deal here at Hopkins as some other places because the Lindbergh Center is enormous.
It is, but I bet you they still probably have basketball practice year-round here, I think. And if not practice, it's games of some type of league. And yeah, I mean, gym space here it's ridiculous how much space they have. But you know, all these programs, they got JV programs. Everybody's fighting for space.
2-2, called strike 3, and this time Blumenfeld wins the battle. Inside breaking ball there, got him on the inside corner.
Definitely caught him off guard, a little inside. Actually, that's right on the inside corner. He was kind of leaning in to see if it would hit his elbow pad, but good breaking ball on the inside to get that strikeout.
First strikeout for Blumenfeld today, 22nd of the year. And the first pitch to Bobby Wilson is fouled away in the general direction of the Lindbergh Center. Just basically right down the right field line here. The 0-1 pitch on the way. Down and in. 1-1 pitch on the way. Down the right field line again. This one might stay in the ballpark. It does not. Just on top of the batting cages. 1-2. Would have been a very long run for Nate Rivers in right field.
Go gadget arm. Would have a tall arm, long reach to get that foul ball, but just outside the fence.
Here's the 1-2. Outside, 2-2. There's a team that's already won today. Bunch of birds perched on the fence out there in right field. There's a bouncer down on the ground. The Wayzata Trojans down the third base line. Those two are next. Wayzata the 2 seed. Armstrong the 3 seed. So the section holding form so far. For those Falcons, probably a win. You go get a sandwich. You come back, you watch this one. Then you play again. Hope the rain holds off. 3-2 pitch well high. Looked like it slipped out of his hand. And that is the second walk for Blumenfeld.
Yeah, this is always a fun time of the season, fun time of the year for baseball players. A lot of things going on. You got end of the high school year for everybody. You know, whether graduations happened or it's coming up in the next week. Seniors getting ready for their college, first year of freshman college if they're going off to college. You know, summer's so much fun for anybody in high school, but you know, you got to focus on baseball here and play some ball.
Strike on the outside corner to Felimovicius, who started the rally with a single last inning. And to your point, having the teams all play here just gives it more of that tournament feel with teams hanging out and watching you. Obviously the fans are great, and they are a lot of them here, and they're making some good noise, but when you have the other teams around, to me it just feels more like the playoffs.
Yeah, it's one of those things at Parade when they used to have the sections down at Parade, and you know, teams they'd have 4, 5, 6 games a day down there during the section playoffs because they had to squeeze everything in. And if you win, you stick around. Even if you lose, you stick around because you want to see what the competition's doing and who's winning. You want to cheer against, cheer for, and kind of, you know, stay in tune with what's going on.
Into shallow center, coming on is Olson, and he makes a running catch.
He made the catch.
He covered a lot of ground, and Will Olson, he can fly in center field. His head coach says he's the fastest player he's ever coached. Remember, Jared Mountain's been at Southwest for 22 years. That showed kind of the tail end of it, but he got a great jump on that ball, made a nice catch.
Yeah, he had a good jump. It was tailing away from him, kind of bobbled it at the in his glove. But key part of the thing, key part of the at bat there is that, or fly ball, is that he caught that ball and got the out.
So that brings up Perry, the freshman. Also a single and a run scored last inning, and a check on the runner over at first, Wilson. The feeling with what the catchers did early in this game, running might get cut down a little bit.
Yeah, you want to get early. You want to be aggressive on the base paths early to see what the opposition is capable of doing. But if they throw you out that first time, it makes you a little bit gun shy, and you don't want to be too aggressive to run yourself out of an inning.
1-1 to Perry. And the runner is going. This one is into left field. Gold drifting in and makes the catch. So a one-out walk, no further damage for Blumenfeld. And we have played 3 complete innings. It is still Hopkins 2, Minneapolis Southwest nothing on CCX Sports.
Every time I hear the alarm bell go off in school, I think it's an air raid.
A lot of houses in our neighborhood have been destroyed. I like to close my ears and sing songs whenever the bombs come close.
I'm worried our new neighbors won't like us.
But I know it's all gonna be worth it. I just want my family to be safe. But these are not my words.
These are not my words.
These are not my words.
Did you know kids who play outdoors have healthier lungs?
Totally.
Did you know that boys that play with dolls make better husbands?
My son has lots of dolls. But did you know terry cloth diapers breathe better?
I did.
It's totally true.
Oh, yeah.
Did you guys know statistically friendly kids have more friends?
Yeah.
That's obvious.
Did you know most people think they're using the right car seat for their kid, but they're not?
Parents who really know it all know for sure that their child is in the right seat. Visit safercar.gov/the right seat to make sure your child is protected.
Good pitcher's duel here through 3. Just the 2 runs in the second inning for Hopkins. Other than that, these two have been in command. Zach Blumenfeld for Southwest and Joey Hurt for Hopkins. Top of the order coming up for Southwest. They have brought only 9 to the plate. Christian Masters had their only hit. He was erased on a fielder's choice back in the first inning, and he swings at the first pitch here and into right field for Nelson. 1 gone.
Can of corn positioned perfectly for that fly ball. It was hit really well out to right field, but the right fielder is positioned perfectly. Took a couple steps back and easily fielded that to get the first out.
6 pitches last inning for Hirth, and now 1 pitch, 1 out here in the 4th. And that'll bring up Levi Wilson. Wilson bounced into the fielder's choice back in the first inning, and then proceeded to be caught stealing later in the inning. Time called by the umpire. Not exactly sure why. First pitch pops the mitt, but it's inside. I guess 1 ball and no strikes. .1-0 pitch, sliced foul toward the Southwest dugout. We can't see that dugout from this angle, but they were worried. Looks like everybody's okay.
I think everybody's okay. That fence is a nice little addition. You know, we were at Wayzata last week, and they have very similar dugouts, the tall cement block dugouts with the high opening. But the difference between what Hopkins has here and what Wayzata has is Hopkins has a nice little, 3-4 foot fence that the players can duck behind. I think now what the umpire is doing is making sure that there's only 1 person outside of the dugout, which is the rule. But if you're batting, you want to stay loose and get out there. But you know, especially after that kind of a play, you want to take any opportunity you can to be as safe as possible.
And Mike Wallace is on deck, but he was pointing at Kuneski, who's in the hole, and he was out of the dugout as well. Swing and a miss by Wilson. 2-2. Good start so far for Hirth. Down low, 3-2. He has faced the minimum, and he is actually retired 8 straight.
Yeah, he looks
9
like
straight.
He's feeling comfortable out there. He's got a good control of his breaking ball. Same thing as we saw last week. A few pitches in, he started to get comfortable and throw that breaking ball with confidence.
That one got a piece of Chiriboga. And the umpire will now dust off a plate that does not need dusting off because there's no dirt. But this is all about giving the catcher a little extra time.
I've never thought about that, but yeah,
I mean, there might be
courtesy
some
thing.
rubber particles on it, but other than that, it's a very nice gesture. That's got to be awkward for an umpire. I mean, obviously, the plate usually needs it. Never does here. 3-2 pitch up high. Second base runner for Southwest. And that'll bring up Mike Wallace.
To the Lakers shortstop, number 6, Mike Wallace.
Traveling fans here from Southwest. And obviously not a long trip to get out here. You just have to fight rush hour and some road construction.
Yeah, not an easy path on any of the roadways. I mean, but it's not far. If there's no traffic, it's probably a 10-minute drive.
0-1 pitch to Wallace. Another breaking ball. This one's outside. 1-1.
A couple pitches have been called balls that Hurt thought he had a strike on, but you got to keep your composure. The call's been made. Move on and focus on the next pitch.
1-1. That one well down and in. That pitch, not an example of this, but when he's missed today, he has not missed by a lot.
Yeah, he's been around the plate the entire game.
Wilson bluffing off first, but not going, and now it's 3-1. Mentioned he cruised through the second and the third. A little bit of trouble here in the fourth.
Good hitters count here, but you don't want to be chasing anything. You want to make sure you get a pitch that you can drive.
Here's the 3-1, down and in, ball 4, and 2 men on for a dangerous hitter, the cleanup man Kuneski coming up. And that's going to bring Jason Mikalakis out just to settle his sophomore down.
Yeah, not in too much danger here. You're still one pitch away from getting out of the inning if you can turn a double play, but I think what he's seen from his sophomore pitchers here is he's losing a little bit of his composure that he had earlier in the game. He's getting a little bit upset on calls that are close around the plate, but he didn't get the call. I think he's just saying, hey, settle down, throw strikes, get your control back. Look, this is a key part of their order. They got a couple runners on the first part of the game here where you're actually put in a position where they can score some runs. So continue to throw strikes and have faith and confidence in your defense behind you.
Batting for the Lakers, number 13, catcher Jacob Kuneski.
Kuneski, no homers this year, but he's driven in 15. Did have 6 doubles. And this is the guy that Southwest wants in these spots. Takes a breaking ball up high. 1 ball and no strikes.
Not very much out of the strike zone, but it was a little bit high, so good call by the umpire. And Hurt, you just got to barrel in, focus in, and throw strikes.
The 1-0 pitch, that was a strike, and it's fouled away. A few drops starting to fall again here. Nothing that's going to threaten a baseball game.
Yeah, nothing, doesn't look too bad. Definitely looking at the radar, it doesn't look like a washout, so I think we'll be able to play baseball for a while tonight.
1-1 is down low. Yeah, you have to watch the sky behind us. Kind of in that camera shot you can see there. That's west. That's where it's all coming from. Over there looks pretty good. Two and 1, the count to Kuneski. One of the better juniors in the state. That ball gets away a little bit, but the runners don't get a read on it. Everybody stays put. 3-1 now. On deck would be the pitcher, Blumenfeld, who I'm sure would love a chance with the bases loaded. The pitch, Kuneski late on it, runs the count full.
Yeah, good pitch to hack at, but unfortunately just a little bit low on the swing, and underneath the ball fouled it back. You try to see if Southwest takes a big chance and puts the runners in motion. You got to be anticipating a strike, and you got one of your better hitters at the plate, so a strike would be swung at, and ideally it'd be put in play. But of course, if you put the runners in motion and Hurth gets that strikeout, you put your runners at risk of being thrown out and getting out of this inning.
A big payoff pitch coming here to the Southwest cleanup hitter. Hurth steps off. There is some action in the bullpen for Hopkins. 3-2 pitch on the way. This one ripped back up the middle, a base hit. Coming around third is Wilson. He will score, and Southwest is on the board.
Well hit ball right up the box, just over Hurth's head. He didn't really have much of a play. Center fielder comes up cleanly with the ball, decided not to take a risk and throw the ball in a home to give the runner at second a chance to advance third. So good job of holding the runner at second. So now runners at first and second and one run in.
Courtesy runner now
Number 24.
for the catcher Kuneski. Carter Roach is running at first base, and Blumenfeld is now a bloop away from tying this game and getting himself off the hook for that second inning. Zach Branson is throwing for the Royals. Up high, 1 ball and no strikes.
A lot of room down that right field line, too.
It is a pretty spacious outfield here. They don't mark distances, but a lot of ground to cover for the fielders out there, and Blumenfeld swings and misses. One the count, pitcher to pitcher here in the fourth, and Blumenfeld late on it, fouls it away.
Hurth in a good spot here to get an out, but if you're at bat, you want to protect the plate. You don't want to strike out. You want to put the ball in play.
One and two the count, the breaking ball well high. Nate Rivers is on deck.
You can see it in Hurth a little bit this inning. He's not as confident in that breaking ball, and when he misses, you can tell he's very upset with himself. He's letting his emotions show, which you don't want to do because it allows the other team, and especially the bench, to get all riled up and try and do more to get in your head.
2 and 2 the count. Up high again. Another full count. Third and 4 batters this inning. 1 walk and 1 single were the results. And it's the fourth 3-ball count of the inning. Here's the payoff. To the left side. Taking a look, but no play for either Beaudry or Wilson. So some good drama here in the top half of the fourth. Hopkins the top seed with the 2-1 lead. It was 2-0 when this inning started. Here's the pitch. Another one in the air. This one now for Poliak in center field. He makes the catch and no tag to third. Big out there for Hurth.
Ball hit pretty high up in the air. Not much wind this afternoon for to wreak any havoc on those fly balls. So easy play for the center fielder to camp under and make sure he gets the ball in quick so the runner has no chance to advance from second to third.
So Nate Rivers, star on the mound yesterday, trying to get it done at the plate today for Southwest. First pitch, there is the bender, but it misses. Rivers also on his way to St. Thomas next year, one of 3 players in this game, the Chiraboga twins for Hopkins. So the guy standing behind him right now will be his teammate 5 months. Down low, 2-0. Two-0 pitch on the outside corner. Looked like Rivers was taking all the way. Struck out looking back in the second inning. The only strikeout of the day for Hurth. Down low, and it's 3-1. So 3-ball counts again to every hitter in this inning, aside from Masters, who led off the inning with a fly ball on the first pitch.
Yeah, the past couple innings, Hurth has really cruised through them, but this inning he's really working that pitch count.
3-1, good swing, but fouled back to the screen. So 3-2, 2 outs. You know what that means. The pinch, rather the courtesy runner, Roach at first. And Mike Wallace at second will break early. Biggest pitch of the game coming up so far, anyway. Runners go and fought off. Do it again at 3-2.
You know, if you're Southwest, you want to make sure the pitch is going home, but you also got to look around and see where the fielders are behind you. And neither the first, second, nor shortstop are even close to the bag yet, or holding the runner on. So you know, keep an eye on them, get a lead, because I think Hurth's focus here is on throwing the strike, but you got to get as far off that bag as you possibly can.
Sizable leads both spots. The runners go. Here's a chopper to the right side, and Hurth can jog it to the bag. Now the Lakers get one. Hurth able to pitch out of trouble as he gets the last two. And we are halfway home in this Section 6A 4A playoff game. Hopkins 2, Minneapolis Southwest 1 on CCX Sports.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes? B, console her?
Don't worry, sweetie. This is gonna happen a lot.
Or C, find her a new boyfriend?
Nice, single boys. That was weird.
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
Oh, look, a redhead. Staring contest. You still got it. I know.
Come alive with the forest.
The dad was cute.
They were looking right at us.
Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you.
Southwest gets one in the top half of the fourth. 2-1 ball game as we head to the bottom half. 6, 7, 8 hitters coming up for Hopkins. That means Hunter Beaudry, Raphael Lewis, Kyle Fiducia. This trio did some damage back in the second. Beaudry, who had the best bunt we've seen off of someone's waist. It was a great bunt. Not trying to bunt for a hit, and that one hit him in the batter's box. It's a strike.
Yeah, they came up and hit him on the left elbow after it bounced off the ground, but he was still in the batter's box, so it's going to be called a foul ball. If he's out of the box, he'd be an out, but hit him while he's in the box, so just a foul ball.
Jared Mountain coming out to ask that exact question, but it did look like he was still in the box. When it bounced back down, it was decidedly out of the box, and sometimes when you see that, it can trick your eye, but I think that was a good call by the umpire. 0-1 pitch, and Beaudry's swinging away, but he's well laid on it.
Yeah, big last half of the inning for Southwest to get themselves confidence to stay in this game against the top seed here at Hopkins, playing at their home field, and keep their crowd active, keep the bench active, and you know, remind their team that, hey, we have a chance. We've won 17 games this season. There's no reason we can't beat this Hopkins team.
And obviously they're busted down in the seedings because it's basically a commentary on their competition. Swing and a miss by Beaudry. That's strikeout number 2 for Blumenfeld. However, you can be 17-3 and maybe your competition wasn't great. It doesn't mean you're not a good team. It's just hard to tell.
You played your schedule. You did a decent job scheduling 5-6 games outside of the conference and against tougher teams, bigger schools like Brainerd, Owatonna, Elk River, Eastview. You know, they played St. Louis Park a couple times this year, I think they were co-conference champions. So, you know, they played a few decent teams, but, you know, when they played the lesser teams, they were putting up 15, 16, 22 runs here and there. So they're having a good outing against the teams that they're supposed to have good outings against.
Inside. And, of course, in a section tournament, no matter what your seeding is, you're going to have to beat the teams in front of you anyway. The numbers really don't matter at this point.
No, I mean, you know, 1 through 4, 5 in this section are pretty close. I mean, obviously the big advantage that Hopkins and Wayzata have, and Armstrong too, is that they played the bigger teams. They played the Eden Prairies, the Minnetonkas. They played these Champlain Park teams that, you know, they have the traditional powerhouse programs that, you know, have a batting order that's good top to bottom. They bring the 2 or 3 pitchers every game, so you know you're going to get a good opposition, whoever you're going up against on the mound. So, you know, they're tested much more throughout the season, but you know, a 500 record is about equivalent to a 17-win regular season.
Blumenfeld covering the bag on the throw from the second baseman Wilson there. So 4-1 the put out. That'll bring up Fiducia.
And I think that's why we saw Hopkins get the 1 seed. Why is that he get the 2 seed, even though they had much fewer wins than Southwest did, but they played a much tougher schedule.
And Armstrong out of that Northwest Suburban, a great baseball conference, gets to 3. And Southwest has the chance to make everybody look foolish and just winning the games. This one fouled toward the Hopkins dugout, might be playable, and it didn't get past that barrier fence by a lot.
Yeah, a lot of foul territory around here on Hopkins, behind the plate and over towards the dugouts. And you know what you want to do when that ball's hit up in the air is run to the fence and then catch yourself and figure out where that ball is. But either way, that ball ended up being out of play.
0-1 the count to Fiducia, who singled. Was caught stealing second back in the second inning. And it was that play that really maybe kept Hopkins from a bigger inning. They had runners at the corners and 1 out.
Yeah, each team has had their chance, and it's been a good job by the defense to get themselves out of the jam in both parts of this game.
0-2 pitch, the curveball doesn't really curve. Blumenfeld looking for strikeout number 3 against just 1 walk in this game. Action is stopped in the Hopkins bullpen. Looks like Hurth will go back out for the 5th. Here's the 1-2, grounded to the right side. This time it's the first baseman Stevens who will flip to the pitcher, and they just barely got him at first. A little casual over there, but it's still a 1-2-3 inning.
He did the job, he got the out.
For Minneapolis Southwest. Through 4, it is 2-1 Royals on CCX Sports.
I want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat?
1 in 5 children struggles with hunger in America. Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
Well, there's a loud start to the top of the 5th inning. Will Villalta serves the first pitch into center field, and the Lakers have the leadoff man on here. Bottom third of the order up. Sebastian Gold, the left fielder.
Left fielder number 7.
And what do you do here, Drew? Is this a bunting situation for you? Your 8-hole hitter at the plate?
I think you're going to see a bunt attempt here to try and get that runner on second base. Good solid single to start the inning on that first pitch.
Does square around, pops it up. And that goes into the Southwest dugout.
One of the tough things here for the Southwest batters on a bunt attempt is Hurth has that strong breaking ball that breaks sharply. And you know, anytime a breaking ball is coming in, it's hard to bunt. But when a breaking ball is as sharp as Hurth's, it's much tougher.
Squares around again. This one goes back to the mound. Hurth thought about second, double clutched, and he is out at second base. And Jared Mountain's going to talk about this one too.
Yeah, Hurth, I think he triple takes here. He fields the ball quickly, immediately looks down to second base, rethinks, going to go to first, but then he says, all right, let's go down to second base, and it ends up being a very, very tough play.
And he looks safe to me.
And he's safe, but, you know, for these umpires, it's a tough call. They don't have the benefit of having a monitor with replay, slow-mo replay right in front of your face. But, you know, the call's been made. You got to move on.
So that'll bring up Will Olson, and he swings and misses at the first pitch. 0-1. Still a runner on board, only 1 out. And Olson right on top of it, fouls it back to the netting. He bounced to second in his first time up. Also has made a nice running catch in center field today. So Gold replaces Villalta at first. The 0-2 pitch. Chiriboga out of the crouch.
Yeah, if you're Southwest, you have to move on. That call's been made. You can't sit there and keep thinking about, well, it should be first and second with nobody out. What you have is what you have, and you got to move forward.
There's the 1-2. Skied on the left side, maybe playable, and it will be. Bobby Wilson making the catch. So that'll turn it over to Masters in the top of the order. Masters has one of 2 Southwest hits in this game.
Nice play by Wilson there. He's over there in foul territory. Getting closer to the fence, but he had plenty of room and fielded that fly ball to get the second out.
Masters led off the game with a single. The only other base hit for Southwest in this game is the RBI single by Kuneski in the 4th. Pardon me, 2 hits leading off this inning as well. Almost forgot about Villalta. There's a strike. Fouled away by Masters. Very good hitter, Christian Masters. 3 hits yesterday, 1 today. I mentioned he came in hitting .378. So that average has gone up. We talk about on-base percentages, and we did earlier. His is .460.
That's a fun season to have an on-base percentage of .460. But when you're putting up as many runs as these guys are against teams like North and Roosevelt and Edison and South, you know, you're going to have, it's inevitable that you're going to have some hitters that come to the plate and get on, you know, 4 out of 10 times, 5 out of 10 times.
2-1 the count now as the sun has made an appearance here at Hopkins. Unexpected cameo. Here's the 2-1 pitch. Fouled away on the left side.
Bit ahead of that one, but he had a really good good read on that one and wanted to drive it to left field, but he was a little too far ahead of it and ends over on the football field.
Gap shot here likely ties the game. 2-2, 2 outs. Fouled out of the glove of Chiriboga. That was a foul tip. So Masters gets another life.
Yeah, good pitch down in the zone. Nice job of the hitter to stay alive and follow that one off.
See the pitch count for Hurth. Pretty decent at 72 pitches. There is action once again in the bullpen for Hopkins, just in case. 2-2. Little blooper behind first base, and it's fair. Perry turns and throws, and they would have had him had that throw been on target. Now heading down to third, and that ball gets away, and everybody's safe. What a reaction play, though, by Perry. And that's a tough throw and catch to make, but if Hurth had caught that, this inning is over.
That's just instincts. That ball just barely makes it over Perry, who's pretty tall, but does a good job on his feet to turn around and quickly barehand that ball. That's just instincts. That comes as, you know, it comes with playing baseball. Enough times you start to think, okay, what can I do to make an out? And you got to be thinking all the time, where are your options? And nice job by the catcher, by Hopkins, to try and get that out at third as well.
They don't have it on the scoreboard here, but I would have to imagine that's a base hit because that's a really tough play for Hurth to come over, make that catch on the run. You see him almost stumbling into the bag. Great heads up by Gold to get to third. And just low the pitch to Levi Wilson, who has scored the only run for Southwest in this game.
Yeah, nice job to get that runner on the third because that puts a pass ball in play here for Hopkins. We haven't seen any of those today, but anything can happen.
Strike on the outside corner. This is the meat of the Southwest order here. 2, 3, and 4 are the next 3 hitters. Runners at the corners right now, 2 outs in the 5th. And Wilson in the air and playable for Beaudry. And despite a scare, Hopkins gets out of the inning. 2-1 Royals as we head to the bottom half of the 5th on CCX Sports.
desert sea race. Love is love.
Tight game here in the bottom half of the 5th. Hopkins with 2 runs in the 2nd. Southwest getting 1 in the 4th. They had a scare in the 5th, but they still trail by 1. Zach Blumenfeld.
Fun game. Fun game. Sorry, go ahead, Charles.
Sorry, Drew. Zach Blumenfeld coming out for his 5th inning of work.
Both pitchers have really been cruising through. Besides 1 inning for each pitcher, they've really had strong outings this afternoon. Both pitchers put themselves in a jam, and we've seen the other team put a run on the board for Hopkins. Fortunately, they have 2, and that's where we stand now with heading to the bottom of the 5th inning.
Wyatt Nelson will lead it off. Last man to come to bat for the 2nd time in this game. First pitch fouled off the mask of the catcher, Kuneski. Nelson walked and was stranded at first in the 2nd inning. Breaking ball for Blumenfeld, catches the inside corner. He's been good since that rough 2nd inning. Just allowed 1 base runner on a walk. He has struck out 2. Faced only 7 hitters in the last 2 innings. 0-2 pitch. Right on the outside corner, and he carves him up on 3 pitches. 3rd strikeout.
Yeah, those inside breaking balls really kind of open up the plate, and he's able to hit the outside corner. And nice job by the catcher to kind of pull it back in there and sell it to the umpire and to get that strike called.
That'll bring up Poliak, who is 0 for 2. He wants to bunt. Blumenfeld off the mound, had to barehand it. Poliak can fly. Out at first. On the stretch by Stevens, a late call. I think the umpire just wanted to see if he had the baseball. The Hopkins coaches don't like it. And we'll take a look at it again.
Yeah, interesting decision there for the pitcher to try and barehand that ball. He bobbles it, makes a play kind of high, but the first baseman's able to stretch and field that ball. Close play again. I think he's safe, but call's been made and you got to move on.
So we're even up maybe on the calls on the base paths. And that'll bring up Chiriboga. So 2 outs here. And that one's right back up the middle, and that's the first base hit since the 2nd for Hopkins. Chiriboga now 1 for 3.
A solidly hit ball right up the box just by the pitcher. Narrowly misses hitting him in the waist.
And it is again. Not much more square than that.
Yeah, that's what you want to do. You want to hit it right up the middle. Good timing.
That sets up Bobby Wilson, 0 for 1 with a walk. Courtesy runner for the catcher, Sam Jonas.
Pitch running for the Royals, number 55, Sam Jonas.
Announced as a pinch runner, but there's a difference between a pinch and a courtesy runner. In the dirt, blocked by Kuneski. Obviously, if he's just a courtesy runner, nothing happens to Chiriboga. He doesn't lose one of his re-entries.
Yeah,
his only re-entry.
Late in the game, and we haven't seen many substitutions, if any, for either team. So I think you want to kind of work that bench in, keep everybody involved, and anytime you can, you want to put extra speed on the base paths, even if you have 2 outs.
1-1 to Wilson. That one fouled away over the now warming up Robbinsdale Armstrong Falcons. Down in the batting cage. Great baseball facility here. Good cages down both lines. 1-1 the count. That one's into right with the runner going. And Jonas took a big turn around 2nd. Now they'll throw in behind him.
Nice play there by the shortstop to dig that ball out of the turf there, because if that scoots by him, that runner from 2nd has a good chance to round 3rd and score with nobody backing up that throw, and that ball scoots over to 3rd base.
Again, that was somewhat of a hit and run play.
Yeah, the second baseman was running over to cover the bag, so it opened up the gap. If that runner's not moving, the second baseman probably has an easy play to get the 3rd out and get Southwest out of this inning, but now Hopkins has 2 runners on.
Up to Felimovicius. Swings and misses on a high fastball. And go back to that play at first, the Poliak play. Maybe bases loaded here.
Yep.
If that call goes the other way. Trying to keep Jonas close at second base. This one muscled into shallow left. Dropping back to make the play is Mike Wallace to end the inning. So a 2-out, couple of base hits for Hopkins, but no runs on the board. We go to the 6th, still 2-1 on CCX Sports.
I'll never forget the day our landlord called and said, "Read your lease. No pets allowed." My owner tells him my dog ate the lease, but that didn't work. And now I'm stuck in a shelter. But this pit bull is ready for a new crib. I'm loving, loyal, and play well with others. So don't be intimidated by all my muscles, because the biggest one I have is my heart. That's right, I said it.
Hey, did you know 2.4 million loving cats and dogs in shelters and rescues need our help to find a home? Let's go to theshelterpetproject.org and meet a few who are in a shelter near you. Harlow, oh, she's one great listener and loves to hear all your stories. My kind of cat. Cerulo is a sweet, goofy boy who's eager to please. Sounds just like another dog I know. So go to theshelterpetproject.org, search your local shelters and rescues, and go for a cuddle with your next best friend. Adopt.
Second tight game of the day. Robbinsdale Armstrong won the opener in this Section 6-4A playoff tripleheader today, 3-1 against Washburn. 2-1 here as we go to the top half of the 6th, and the meat of the order coming up for Southwest. Wallace, Kuneski, and Blumenfeld. In that game, Armstrong and Washburn. Washburn actually had the bases loaded when the final out was recorded. Up high to Wallace. Hurth still out on the mound for the Royals. Wallace is 0 for 1. He walked and got as far as second base in the 4th. Slow chopper to the left side. Wilson charges and makes a nice throw on the run.
Nice job by Wilson to charge that ball. Beauty of this turf is you know where the ball is going to bounce and it's easy to come up with, but he didn't take too much time and try and throw the hardest throw over to first base. He did a nice job of getting that ball out of his glove and just threw it over there on line. Quick release to just get that out.
Good stretch by the lanky first baseman Perry as well.
That always helps.
So here's Kuneski, driven in the only run for the Lakers in this game. And I would imagine of the players in this lineup for Southwest, the one that Jason Michalakis is most happy to see come up with the bases empty, especially because this could be his final at bat. Two 2-0 the count. 3-0 now. Is that one even higher than the one before? Hurth has walked 2. And now 3. It was a walk with 1 out in the 4th inning that eventually came around to score Southwest's only run.
See how Hurth handles this, giving up a 4-pitch walk. At the end of the last inning, he ended up talking to the umpire as he was coming off the field. He was letting his emotion show a little bit on the mound, and the umpire just said, "Hey, let's calm down. You know, play baseball, and you want to see how Hurth handles this after giving up that 4-pitch walk."
Roach comes on to run again. Carter Roach, senior outfielder for the catcher Kuneski. And Blumenfeld once again a chance to help his own cause as he takes one up and out of the zone. 5 straight now have missed. The only strike for Hurth in this inning is the grounder to third base by Wallace. There's one right down the middle.
Took a little bit off that one, didn't try and throw it too hard, just threw it over the plate and in the zone.
One and 1 the count, 1 out. Runner at first, and again up high. That's going to get a visit from Shiroboga.
Yeah, Hurth has a bit of confidence out there, which is really good to see for a sophomore. You like seeing that, especially moving forward with Hopkins. If assuming he's going to be around for junior and senior year, that's a really good sign. But right now, today, what you want to see him do is just calm down, throw strikes. Don't try and throw mid to upper 80s and low 90s. throw strikes. Whatever you're throwing, don't worry about the speed. Just throw strikes because you don't want to give up free passes here at this part of the game.
Talent, though, very obvious.
Yes.
It'll be fun to see what he's like in 2 years. 2-1 pitch on the outside corner, and that was an excellent pitch from Joey Hurth.
Yeah, that was one of those pitches. Could have gone either way, but it was a great pitch. Got the called strike. Huge pitch of this at bat.
Nate Rivers waiting on deck. Barring a double play, he'll hit. The 2-2 up high, and the count runs full. Now you've got an interesting decision if you're Jared Mountain. Only 1 out in the inning. But do you send your courtesy runner here? Obviously, you get to handpick your runner.
Yep. You would think there's some strategy in keeping a speedster on the bench and for this kind of a position in the game.
Not going. Struck him out. Maybe a good thing that he didn't go, given that result.
Huge strikeout for Hurth here. Threw a strike. Got the batter to miss that ball. May have been just on the outside part of the plate, but either way, it's close enough so you know the batter's going to swing to protect that plate.
So here's Nate Rivers. Another chopper towards Wilson. This is how the inning started, and that's how it ends. So the 1-out walk does not damage Hurth. And we will go to the bottom half of the 6th inning with Hopkins still leading it 2-1 here on CCX Sports.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move. So I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
Hopkins to bat here for the 6th time and what they hope will be the last time today. They look for some insurance here in the bottom half of the 6th. Jake Perry, Hunter Beaudry, Raphael Lewis will be the 3 scheduled hitters, and it is still Blumenfeld. The starters have gone the distance for both teams. Be interesting to see what happens with Hopkins in the 7th. It does look like Wyatt Nelson is warming up. First pitch swung on up the middle for Perry. Second hit of the day for the freshman, who's got some big shoes to fill out there, but he's done a nice job at the dish and at the plate as well.
Yeah, nice big swing, puts the barrel of the bat on the ball, down in the zone, straight up the middle, right up the box, leadoff single. Big at bat for Hopkins there.
Some movement here. I'm not sure if someone's going to come run for Perry or if they're going to pinch hit for Beaudry. But somebody is coming out of the dugout. They're just not totally sure who yet. Looks like it's going to be Sam Jonas. See him taking a helmet out of the rack. But it's mass confusion in the dugout right now.
I think they're just figuring things out.
I don't want to be wrong, so I'm just going to wait. In fact, it's Will Stein who comes out to run. So this is a pinch runner for Perry, who can re-enter the game in the 7th inning.
It's the beauty of high school baseball. You're down there protecting the warm-up pitcher. You got a runner, leadoff runner on base. You get the call, and all of a sudden you're pinch running.
Some teams, you can go from first base coach to pinch runner just like that. Pitched from Blumenfeld. Beaudry with a shallow pop-up, and they got a double play if they throw it quickly, but the throw gets away, and Stein, getting his wind sprints in, will end up at second base anyway. Oh, they had him dead to rights, but had to come up off the ground, did Mike Wallace, to make the throw, and he threw it low.
if you're a pinch runner, you're trying to make things happen, but he was trying to make things happen too quick. I think he thought that ball was going to fall in front of him, so he was trying to get down to second base to beat the throw to second. Shortstop ends up coming up with the pop fly or the short fly ball. Speed throws it over to first base, but unfortunately it's a little low. The first baseman's not able to scoop it up, and that runner ends up going down to second base anyways.
First error of the day for either team, and now Lewis fouls one back over our heads. Lewis has the biggest hit of the day, the 2-run double back in the second inning. It's the only extra base hit of the game, just his second double of the year, and he only had 3 RBIs coming into today. A base hit here, he may match that total in one section game. 0-1 pitch, slow breaking ball, stays up high. Lewis bounced out to the second baseman with the pitcher covering back in the fourth. Stein is the runner at second base. He's on for Perry. Blumenfeld's pitch inside. Bottom third of the order is due up for Southwest in the 7th. Obviously their lineup is good top to bottom, but you don't want to see another run come across the plate. 2-1 pitch is up high. Fiducia is on deck. You've got the bottom third of the order up here for Hopkins. So on a 3-1 pitch here with first base open.
Yeah, obviously you don't want to give up a walk, but if you end up walking this batter, it's not the worst case scenario here for Minneapolis Southwest.
The 3-1 pitch, and he does walk him. And it did look like a careful pitch. Not to give a guy who already has a double anything too fat.
Yeah, you don't want to throw it right over the plate and give him a chance to rope something down the line to bring in that third run for Hopkins. But now if you're Southwest, you want to make sure everybody's aware of the situation, discuss the options, know where everybody's going to go. If the ball's hit here, if the ball's hit there, where do you go?
Both managers coming out. Jared Mountain to talk to his pitcher. Jason Michalakis to talk to his pinch hitter, which will be senior Isaac Eng. Eng this year had 12 at-bats, 4 hits. He's a left-handed hitter. And he will face Blumenfeld, who, if he had the chance, talked his way back onto the mound.
Yeah, I think he's getting a chance to show this is his game. You know, he's gotten this deep into the game. He's put himself in this position. He had a similar situation in the second inning, was able to work himself out of a jam. Let's see if he can do it here in the bottom of the 6th.
And he's got Eng, who's batting for Kyle Fiducia. And then Wyatt Nelson, who, at least until 2 seconds ago, was warming up in the bullpen. First pitch, Eng with a soft one off the end of the bat, and Olson's going to camp under that. Bluff throw to third. Bluff tag to third anyway. 1 pitch gets Eng.
Solid hit ball to center field, but not deep enough or not short enough, and Olson's able to field that one cleanly and get that fly ball out, and quickly throws it into the to cutoff man to keep the runners from advancing.
Textbook center field there, set up and got the throw back in quickly. Not that there was a tag play really to be had. So Nelson will hit for himself here as he looks like he's going to be the pitcher in the top half of the 7th. First pitch is a breaking ball and it misses outside. Stein is the runner at second base. Rafael Lewis is at first. Up and away, 2-0. Wonder if this isn't Blumenfeld's last hitter no matter what. You got the top of the order coming back up.
It's a really good point, Charlie, because you're going to either end up striking this guy out, getting the third out of the inning, you end up walking him, probably going to get pulled, or if you give up a hit, you probably bring in the third run of the game and get pulled as well.
2-0 pitch on the outside corner. We can't see the Southwest bullpen from where we're stationed, but you never know. It could be somebody who's on the field right now anyway. It's not the biggest roster in the world for Southwest. 2-1 pitch tied him up inside, 2-2.
Good
we
pitch.
have been told there is nobody warming up for the Lakers down the line.
But as you said, there may be somebody in the field. Yeah, great pitch there. He's had success throwing that inside backdoor breaking ball, and I think that's what they were expecting there. Tied him up and got that swinging strike for the second strike.
88th pitch of the day coming for Blumenfeld, and his biggest to try to keep it at 2-1 going into the 7th. Nelson asks for time. 2-2 with 2 on and 2 out. Hopkins has had a 2 spot on the board since the second inning, and this one's fouled back. Well, so far so good in this Section 6 4A playoffs. There have been 3 games. First 2 finished as 2-run ball games. This one coming down to the wire as well. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Breaking ball, and he froze him. What a pitch by Blumenfeld to get out of the inning. His 4th strikeout of the game. It'll send us to the 7th. Still 2-1 Hopkins, and a last chance coming up for the Lakers on CCX Sports.
Well, Thomas, you've got pre-diabetes. But with more exercise and a change in diet, it can be reversed.
I've tried exercising. It just makes me hungry for bacon.
I love bacon, too. And who really likes to exercise?
Not me.
Me neither.
Nobody. So we're good?
What? Oh, you still have pre-diabetes. Big time.
Start a story. Adopt at theshelterpetproject.org.
Last chance for Minneapolis Southwest, and we thought we might see Wyatt Nelson pitch here in the 7th. He was warming up in earnest down the right field line, but Joey Hurth comes back out to try to finish what he started. So a lot of faith here from Jason Michalakis in his young pitcher. Was giving up just the 1 run today.
Yeah, he's earning his stripes today, and both pitchers have really pitched themselves into a position to get a win. Unfortunately, one team is going to come out with the win this afternoon, but both pitchers given the opportunity to get themselves out of jams, and we've seen that. We just saw that for Southwest, and now Hurth has a chance to finish this game up and advance Hopkins into the next round.
Yeah, and the loser of this game would have to play tomorrow. And they would play Minneapolis Washburn, I believe. Yes, they would. Winner gets a break till Monday. First pitch to Will Villalta leading it off is up high. Villalta has a hit in this game. Singled back in the 5th inning. Southwest has left 5 on the bases in the last 3 innings. Up high again, 2-0. The pitch up high is 3-0 now to Villalta. And again, Villalta, remember, in his last at bat, he got on base with a single and he was thrown out at second on a bunt play. Taking that one all the way for a strike on a play where it looked like on the replays he was safe.
Yeah, it was a close play, but with the slow-mo replay, we were able to take a replay look at it, and it did look like he was safe. But
3-1 pitch. He may have just swung at ball 4.
Yeah, he was trying to hit that one out of the park, but was a little underneath it and was a little up and in the zone.
And the 3-2. On the outside corner, he got him looking. 3rd strikeout for Hurth. And that's a good pitch.
That's a good pitch. It came breaking back in. I think it had a little tail action on it. Caught the outside part of his plate to get that strikeout.
92nd of the day might have been his best. And here's Sebastian Goal. Up and in, buzzed the tower. 1 ball and no strikes. Goal has twice bounced to the pitcher, once intentionally and ended up being a fielder's choice. His ground out was also to Hurth. Late on the fastball, it's 1-1. Will Olson is on deck. The 1-1 grounded to third. Picked up there by Bobby Wilson. On to first, out number 2.
Wilson's been pretty busy over there here in the late part of the game. Nice job of staying down in that ball. The tendency is to kind of start up and then go down, but he did a good job staying down in the ball, fielded it cleanly, good strong throw over to first base to get the second out here.
Will Olson.
So the lefty speedster, Will Olson, is the last hope for Southwest. Jared Mountain, as I mentioned, says he's the fastest player he's ever coached, and he's also a very good bunter. Hopkins knows it. Bobby Wilson is even with the bag at third, and he was trying to lay one down. Bunts it into the Southwest dugout. Today he has bounced to second, fouled out to third. Right on top of that one, but fouls it back to the screen, 0-2. So Hurth, the sophomore, trying to finish it off and give Hopkins the off days till Monday.
Definitely in the driver's seat here, up 0-2, nobody on. Good chance to put this game away.
Here is the pitch. Foul back again. Onto the transformer that negotiates the lights over at the football field. Another 0-2 pitch on the way. Curveball, and that one spun right out of his hand. It's 1-2.
Yeah, not even close on that one. That's the worst pitch we've seen from him this afternoon, but I don't think he was even close to being in control of that one, so I wouldn't even count it. Good pitch to waste.
Here it is, the 1-2 up high. Olson leans out of the way. Count even. And that was pitch number 100. Only has a few more to play with. 2-2 pitch is sky to the left side. Wilson on the run, and he's got it to end the game right in front of the fence. So Wilson, who was very busy in the final 2 innings, actually 3 innings, 2 foul-out catches, and 3 assists, and he helps end this game on a nice running play in that large amount of foul territory over there. So the top seed Hopkins now 11-10, and they are advanced in this winner's bracket, and they will await who their next opponent would be on Monday. It would be the winner of the next game, Wayzata and Robbinsdale Armstrong.
Yeah, big win for Hopkins here this afternoon. The 1 seed advancing. Probably got more of a fight from Southwest than they were anticipating, but you know, we thought Hopkins kind of missed out on an opportunity to break this game open in the second. They only came out of there with 2 runs, but in the end, that's all they ended up needing as they ended up pitching themselves out of a couple jams, and great defensive play there by Wilson to end this game.
Hurth, the winning pitcher, he is now 4-1. Blumenfeld, the loser, he is 3-2, but both pitched incredibly well. Complete games on both sides, and really just one tough inning each way.
Yeah, both teams, great, solid game, clean game for the most part. Each team had a chance to kind of put a couple runs on the board, and for Hopkins, it was in the bottom of the second. For Southwest, it was the top of the fourth. Fortunately for Hopkins, they were able to get 2. Southwest, they were only able to get 1 in their big inning.
Well, if this game's any indication, this 6-4A tournament is going to be very exciting. 2-1 Hopkins, the final. Our entire crew. For Drew Keogh, I'm Charlie Beatty saying so long. Hopkins beats Southwest 2-1 here in the Section 6 4A playoffs.